So you're thinking about a solo trip to Thailand, right? You start doing your research, you pull up a news site, and bam, scary headlines. Then you flip over to Instagram, and it's just this endless scroll of perfect beaches and beautiful temples. It's kind of confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, on one hand, you've got these reports that can make it sound like a pretty risky place to go alone. But on the other, you see all these people having the absolute time of their lives. That huge gap between the scary news and the perfect photos is exactly why we need to ask,
What is the real story here? Behind all the headlines and all the hashtags, what's it actually like? Well, in this explainer, we are going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to break down the reality of solo travel in Thailand and give you the balanced truth you're looking for.
We're going to cover the real deal on crime, how to spot and dodge those common tourist scams, and we'll have some specific tips for solo women. Then we'll get into nightlife, getting around, and some of the risks people forget about. And stick around, because at the end, we'll talk about the real secret to staying safe.
okay, let's just dive right in and tackle the biggest concern head on. The actual reality of crime against tourists. What are we really talking about when you're on the ground there?
Well, here's the honest truth. For the vast majority of solo travelers, violent crime is incredibly rare. The things you actually need to look out for are, well, pretty much the same things you look out for in any big city. Think about a crowded market. It's an amazing experience, but that's where you're more likely to run into a pickpocket, not some major danger.
And this really puts it all into perspective. Millions, literally millions, of solo travelers visit Thailand every single year and have a fantastic, safe, incident-free trip. A safe journey is not the lucky exception. It is overwhelmingly the norm.
So, okay, while serious crime isn't a huge worry, that doesn't mean you can just switch off your brain. Because this is where some travelers do get into a bit of trouble with some clever, well-rehearsed scams. For example, let me walk you through a classic one, the jet ski scam. So you're out on the water, having an awesome time, you bring the jet ski back to the beach, and suddenly the owner is pointing at a scratch or a dent that, let's be real, was probably already there. Then they get aggressive and demand you pay a ton of money right now for repairs. It's a really uncomfortable spot to be in. But here's the good news. These scams are actually super easy to beat. It all comes down to being a little proactive. Before you even get on that jet ski, just pull out your phone and take a quick video of the whole thing, pointing out any scratches you see. When you need a ride, use an app like Grab so the price is locked in. And oh yeah, if a super friendly stranger tells you the Grand Palace is closed for a special ceremony, just smile, say thanks, and go check for yourself. 9 times out of 10, it's open. Okay, let's talk about something really important. For a lot of women thinking about their first solo adventure, safety is, the number one thing on their mind. So let's look at why, despite those worries, Thailand is consistently one of the absolute top choices for women traveling alone. A huge reason it's so popular is the incredible support system you'll find there. The whole country is set up for tourism, the local people are famously friendly and respectful, and maybe most importantly, there's this giant built-in community of other solo travelers. It's so easy to find a cool hostel or join a day tour and meet people, so you're never really alone unless you actually want to be. When it comes down to it, staying safe as a solo woman in Thailand is all about using the same common sense you'd use anywhere else in the world. Smart moves, like dressing a little more conservatively when you visit temples, or just trusting that gut feeling, they go a long, long way. The risky mistakes are the exact same ones you'd avoid at home. All right, let's shift gears and talk about a couple of areas where it pays to keep your awareness dialed up just a notch, enjoying the famous nightlife and just getting from point A to point B.
Thailand's nightlife is famous for a reason, and it can be a ton of fun. But most problems start when people let their guard down completely. You can have an incredible night just by staying aware. And hey, you don't need to overdo it to have fun. Grab a delicious fresh fruit juice or a soda and just soak up the atmosphere. And when the night's over, the smartest move is always to just call a Grab to get you right back to your hotel door.
And speaking of getting around, we have to have a serious chat about motorbikes. This is, and I'm not exaggerating, one of the biggest actual dangers in Thailand, and it has nothing to do with crime. Accidents involving tourists who've never really ridden before are super common. Trust me, that cool photo isn't worth a trip to the hospital. If you're not an experienced rider, the smartest and safest choice is to just skip it. Safety isn't just about people. There are a few other things that travelers sometimes forget to think about, but they're just as important for a safe and happy trip. So you might see a scary-looking headline about a protest or some political stuff happening in Bangkok before you go and start to worry. But here's the thing you have to understand.
The tourist areas are almost always completely separate from all that. The government knows how important tourism is, and they work really hard to make sure the places you're going to visit stay safe and stable. Honestly, you are way more likely to have a problem with Mother Nature than with another person. Heat stroke is no joke, especially when you're exploring ancient ruins all day, so drink way more water than you think you need. When you're on those beautiful beaches and you see a red flag, take it seriously. Those ocean currents are powerful. And of course, if you're heading up north to go trekking, mosquito repellent is your best friend.
Okay, so we've talked about crime, scams, health, all of it. But it all really boils down to one single, powerful idea. This is the mindset that makes all the difference in the world.
And here it is. This is the core takeaway. Thailand is a safe and wonderful country if you don't act like you're invincible. It's not some magic bubble where nothing can go wrong. The moment you start thinking you're untouchable is the exact moment you make yourself vulnerable. So what does don't act invincible actually look like? Well, it's these three simple things. First, awareness, just paying attention to what's happening around you. Second, respect, showing that you appreciate the local culture and the people. And third, making smart decisions, just not taking silly risks you wouldn't take back at home.
So let's go all the way back to that first question. Is Thailand safe? The final verdict is a clear, confident yes. For the traveler who is smart, aware, and respectful, Thailand isn't just safe. It is hands down one of the most incredible, rewarding, and beautiful solo travel experiences you can possibly have. It's a country that gives back so much to the travelers who come prepared. So now that you know how to separate the facts from the fear, the only question left to ask is, would you go?